Well, I really enjoyed that half hour there. I enjoy the walk here or the walk back. It's bloody crippling me, but yeah, I really enjoyed. It's like going back to the old days when I used to trek to, you know, all around Waterfall country. I had great fun doing that. A lot slower now. And instead of being like an hour out at the falls, it's a whole morning. But you know, I'm out in the fresh air, out with my family. As I said, down at the falls, I will pay for this later in terms of back pain, but it's worth it. You know, it's like, you know, what's the alternative? You know, like, alright, I could sit in the house, right, and just wait for the Grim Reaper to come and get me, or I can get out and, you know, enjoy being out in the fresh air.
During the meanwhilest... No.
Well, hello, it's Dexter and me and the rest of the Griswolds, and we're coming to a place that I've not been to for years. It's called Dinas Rock. Well, when I say I've not been here for years, I rode up here on my bike, must be 3 years ago now, and I'll pop a picture from that day up now. But we've come back today to go to the Cascades on the Afon or River Sychryd, and I can't remember if I'm sure this is the right way. If it's not, then I've completely wasted mine and my family's time. Though the reason I'm coming here is that I got inspired by an image that Aaron Cole's posted on Instagram, and it's got a bit of a coincidence because I planned to try and come up here last week, or week before last, and we had that torrential rain, and I figured that I'm not gonna risk coming up here in those conditions, so I didn't. And then Alan posted his picture, and that's really inspired me now to try and get up here today and take my own. Right. I'll check back in when we get there. Dinas Rock, I think, means Fortress Rock, or Rock of the Fortress or something. Quite an impressive looking geological structure. I think this area is littered with like silica mines and gunpowder works. And I think we come the wrong way. Yeah, we come the wrong way. Oh, typical. Well done, Nicholas. Yeah, I said it's been years since I've been here, and we have come the wrong way. So we have to double back on ourselves now, back to the car park, and take the path I think we probably should have taken. Everybody's really happy with me, as you can imagine. 2 hours. No, we're not going to go that fast, we can't. Well, even a fraction of it. This is the way we should have come first time. I don't remember it being this steep, but then again, when I came here last time, I would have been as fit as a butcher's dog, so maybe I just took that in my stride. Oh well. How does it take my time? Coming back down is going to be the thing though. Oh, I've passed the point of no return now. I've committed to it, so let's get on with it. Well, that was a pretty sketchy, arse-cheek scramble down here, and I'm gonna pay for this later. I'm gonna pay for this later and getting back pain. But I think it's gonna be worth it to get a shot. Maybe it's worth it to get a shot. So let's get a shot. I'll just talk you through this first composition I've set up. It's quite straightforward. I'll show you on the back of the camera. If you can hear me over the water, you've got the initial fall or cascade there in the upper left third, coming down then to this lower cascade in the right lower third, leaving the frame right in the corner. So we're filling the frame pretty well with action from top left all the way down to bottom right, and right out at 10mm on my 10 to 24. I'm just going to take a number of compositions now. Base ISO, probably f9 on here, which will give me around about an f13 full frame equivalent. And I'll try now with just basically with different shutter speeds. I don't want to go too slow because there is some movement in the foliage, so I don't really want that blurring out. So let's have a look. 2-second timer. First image. Okay. Right then, I quite like that. What I think I'll try to do now is put the polarizer on, try and take some glare off the water, and also to give me probably about a stop of light, just to give me about, you know, a third of a second shutter speed, I think. So let's try that. Let's try the polarizer. Oh, right. Well, I tried 2 or 3 different comps, see which one works best. I want to try and get down there to the lower level, but I can't see a way down. Not safely for me at any rate, and I'm not risking my my back for a picture is bad enough getting down here. Right then, this is the climb I got facing me back up. That's bad enough. Right then, I'm putting it off long enough. Suppose over this. Better try. Right, let's go. That's quite a large tree being fallen over. Looks like it's been many a year. I don't think beavers built that. What I'm going to do now then is sign off from here. See you back in the office, and we'll have a look perhaps at processing one of these pictures, shall we? Should we do that together? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? If I get there. Right then. Or the power or the magic of the internet. Let's get on. Right, well, here we are back home after that little trek up to Dinas Rock and Sychryd Falls. And I'm paying for it. I really am paying for my exertions today. I'm really careful when I go out because I know my limitations, right? So I walk a few paces, 20-30 yards, and I rest for a minute or so. And I'll walk a bit further and I'll rest for a minute or so. But yesterday's trek, it wasn't helped by the fact I went the wrong way, first off. I've been there for over 10 years. And I forgot just how steep the trek to the falls is. So even with my, walk a bit, rest a lot, walk a bit, rest a lot way of doing things, it took a long time. What would have taken me probably 15 minutes when I was fit took me over 90 yesterday. But it was well worth it, as was the rather terrifying scramble down to the riverbed to take the picture. What we'll do now then is we will hop on to my I'm going to edit this on my Mac Mini. We'll hop onto that and we'll edit the picture, and then we'll have a look at it, have a look at the finished article later on. Let's do the edit. Right, well, these are the images I shot yesterday. This is like the first, kind of like just a test shot, and then I put my polarizer on. As you can see, it vignetted quite heavily. Dealt with that there. Then I moved in a little bit closer to the foreground rocks. But the image I want to process, my favourite of all the ones I shot, is this one. I got in really close to some of these leaves here. I was hoping for like some more fallen leaves here, but there weren't any, so they'd all been either blown or washed away. So I got closer to these leaves here, and of course then you've got the waterfall up in the upper part, and then you've got these lovely patterns wending their way down to this cascade here, and this like little cascade and plunge pool here. As the river vanishes off into the distance. So this is the one I'm going to develop. Now I'm not going to worry about these little slight vignettes from my polarizer. I'll deal with those in Photoshop later on. But the steps I'm going to take in Lightroom to develop this, I'm not going to crop it. I want to leave it at a native 3x2 because I want all this. In. The only sort of negative point is this corner up here, and there's like a little bit of mist, but I'm not going to do anything about that. Now, autumn images, I tend to cool down a little as a starting point. Now, that might seem a little counterintuitive, but trust me, I think it works. Well, it seems to work for me anyway. So I'm going to cool the image down a little bit by reducing the white balance, and then I'm going to add a little bit of contrast in. Exposure is fine. A little bit shadowy up here because I used a grad across here to a soft edge grad to control or rein in the exposure on the water. But all the same, I'm going to drag the highlights all the way down to -100 because I really want to capture all this detail in here. I didn't go for too long a shutter speed. As you can see, it's only 0.8 seconds. So it's not, I didn't drag the shutter out for 30 seconds or a minute or so. I wanted to retain some of the lovely detail you've got there, and now I'm going to prove to you how good the dynamic range on this X-T5 is by dragging out to around about there the shadows. If you zoom in, okay, no real noise, not exactly in focus, but I focused, my focal point was around here, so at what was it, f8, this isn't going to be perfectly in focus. Right then, what to do next? Right, well, I've added a bit of contrast. I'm going to put a little bit of vibrance in, not much, and then I'm going to do all the work, all the heavy lifting down here in the hue, saturation and luminance sliders. Orange, I want these oranges to be a little bit more reddy brown, so I'm going to drag the hue out this way to about -40. Same with the yellows. I want the yellows to be a little bit more yellow, so I'll drag that out to +20. Greens, now the way I deal with my greens in autumn images is to really increase the hue quite a lot. So I'm going to take it up to about +70, really make those greens kind of like, well, green. But when we come down to saturation level, we'll deal with those a little bit more. Right then, I'm going to saturate the oranges a little, saturate my yellows just a touch, about the same level, about +20. There we go, +20. There we go. But the greens, I'm now going to drag all the way down to like about -85. There we go, round about there. And I really like the contrast now between the dullness of the green, even though it's still there, it's still all there, it's a little bit dull compared to like the rusty oranges and the yellows here. And they've got these lovely hues in the rock. I think there's like there are a lot of silica mines around this area, so there are a lot of minerals in the rocks, and this looks like gold, I'll be honest with you. There's gold in them there hills. No, I doubt that very much. Right, that pretty well is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to make any local adjustments to anything, and I'm going to go down now to the blue primary channel and increase that to about halfway, to +50. Let's have a little look at doing some shadows. Let's put a little bit of teal, in the shadows, and a little bit of orange in the highlights. And there, my friends, is that. I'm going to export this now to Photoshop to deal with these little bits here, and then I will pop the final image up for you to have a gander at. There we go. What do you think? Nice and easy, does it, isn't it? Nothing too complicated there. Oh, right. Yeah, that's my there's my picture edited, or processed, whatever you want to call it. Not an awful lot of work done to it, but I think you agree that the finished article is a lot more polished and a lot nicer to look at than the starting raw file point. This was quite a nice exercise to test the dynamic range of the X-T5, and I'm really surprised. I could drag a lot of detail out of those shadows and bring an awful lot back into the highlights as well. So I don't think there's any doubt that the new 40 megapixel sensor and the way the raw files get processed in camera, there's no doubt that this is a very, very good landscape photography tool, and hopefully this is the first of many images I make with it. Right, I paid big time for that walk yesterday, though. I was in bed by about 4:15 last night. I got home, had a really nice long soak in a hot bath, and I was in bed by about 3:30. I said to Lisa, wake me up when when tea's ready. And the next thing I knew, she's waking me up. It was 11:15 at night. I'd slept right the way through, and I still slept all night as well. I had to take quite a few painkillers after it. I dosed myself up on them before I went, but I had to take some more afterwards as well, because it was quite a painful evening and night, and even today, 24 or over 24 hours later now, I'm still in quite a deal of pain. But as I said in my little walk, I'm not sure if this came out in the video, but I certainly said it to myself. What's the alternative, to like to doing that? Sitting in the house waiting for the Grim Reaper? That's not for me. That's not for me. I know my limits, and I know yesterday I went over them. But sometimes you got to do dull things. You got to do dull things. When I had my chemotherapy, my initial chemotherapy way back in 2015 now, I had 2 doses of quite aggressive chemotherapy, and it actually caused a saddle embolus, a blood clot on my right lung, which was the largest that the doctors in my hospital had seen on somebody who'd survived. And they put the fact that I'd survived down to my level of fitness before I got ill. I'd been a cyclist for years, and then I used to hike everywhere and whatnot, and they think that that's sort of like excess lung capacity helped to actually save my life back then. So I'm not prepared to let myself go entirely. I don't want that to happen to me again, and not be able to recover from it, obviously. Anyway, on that happy note, it's nearly Christmas. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think of the images I shot. Did I choose the right comp to process? Would you have done a different composition of the 3, or would you have processed it slightly differently? Let me know. There's no wrong and right answer. It's all subjective, and we all like the look that our photos have. So let me know how you would have processed that image yourself. Right then, that's it. Stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves, your loved ones, your little pets, and just be nice, okay? It's nearly Christmas, so be nice, and you never know what Father Christmas might get you. Don't be naughty, alright? Ta-ra.
They said there'll be snow at Christmas. They said there'll be peace on earth. But instead it just kept on raining, a veil of tears for the virgin birth. I remember one Christmas morning, a winter's light and a distant choir, and the peal of a bell and that Christmas tree smell, and eyes full of tinsel and fire. They sold me a dream of Christmas. They sold me a silent night. They told me a fairy story till I believed in the Israelite. And I believed in Father Christmas, and I looked to the sky with excited eyes. Then I woke with a yawn.